Have you ever been shocked by bad news in your organization? News that you weren't aware of? Have you discovered a big problem that you were not even aware was an issue in your organization? In my new book, Know What You Don't Know, I talk about how as leaders we can become problem finders, how we can discover small problems before they mushroom into large-scale failures. And so the whole point is, how do we find that bad news early on, when we have enough time to recover from the small problems before they turn into large-scale failures? Now, the origins of this book date back to a conversation I had with Robert McNamara, the former Secretary of Defense. He, of course, was the Defense Secretary for John F. Kennedy. And I had the pleasure of hosting him at a class when I was teaching Harvard Business School. And he asked me before class, he said, do you still use the case method here at the school, where he had taught back in the 1940s? And I said, yes, we did. And he said, the case method is a great method for teaching and learning, but you know, there's only one problem with it. I said, what's that, Mr. McNamara? I was rather taken aback. And he said, well, the case method presents the problem to the student and asks them to make a decision. But the real challenge for leaders is they don't even know what the problems are. How do you know which problems you need to solve? And that got me thinking. And that's where the origins of this book really began. I said, how do I write a book not about problem solving? I'd written a book about problem solving and decision making. Now I wanted to write a book about how you discover where the problems are. I talk about the 7 key skills or capabilities of a problem finder. Now let me just talk about 1 or 2 of those skills in some more detail. For example, I talk about circumventing the gatekeepers. In every organization, right, there's always that person who's sort of filtering the information before it gets to the boss. And they have good intentions, right? They're trying to manage the schedule and the time of that busy manager. And so they're taking all that information from all the employees, and they often will package it and sort of bring it to the boss and say, you know, here's an issue, you know, that you need to look at and make a decision about. And I talk about the fact that while that's very productive, sometimes that means that bad news doesn't get to the boss. It gets filtered out by the gatekeeper, right? And that may be your chief operating officer. It might be your chief of staff. It might be just your assistant plant manager if you're a plant manager. Whoever that person is who's sort of, you know, managing the flow of information that gets to you. For example, at CVS, they make it a point that every member of the senior management team actually listens each week to several phone calls that have come in to the customer feedback with phone lines. So they can hear, they actually listen to the audio file so they can hear directly from a customer. And every couple of months they actually go and take phone calls themselves in the call center so they can talk directly to customers, even the CEO. That way they're not removed from what's going on, but they're sort of circumventing all those gatekeepers in the organization and talking one-to-one with the customer. Know What You Don't Know is a book based on extensive academic research, but it's a book written for the business leader, not a book written for some scholar. It's written for those who are out there working and trying to improve their organizations every day. It's filled with engaging examples that are memorable, fun and entertaining examples about companies that interest us, like Build-A-Bear and Pixar and organizations like the FBI. And I'm hoping that these memorable and engaging examples will help leaders as they go back to their organizations and try to implement the ideas. Because most of all, I hope the book is filled with practical advice that can affect the way you work and the way you lead every day. That's what Know What You Don't Know is all about.